Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm pretty new to this, so it's one of my first videos I think I've ever recorded on YouTube. So let's get started. The reason I made this channel, Benign Fasciculation Man, is that's exactly who I am. I've been dealing with full body twitches for about the last year, and I created this channel more to reach out to anybody else to maybe help them, give them peace or something of that nature. Because when I first dealt with this, I didn't find much on the internet about twitching other than ALS and MS and terminal diseases that start this way or have this involved, or so you can imagine people who do deal with this, the fear and the stress and the panic and the constant worry that they go through when they have this. And I'm not downplaying, people who actually deal with having ALS and these horrible degenerative diseases. However, benign fasciculation syndrome is like a nightmare that you just can't wake up from sometimes. So just to give you my experience with it, I'd say back in my second son was born in October of 2018, and that's when my stress really started because I wasn't making a lot of money. The job that I currently have right now is extremely stressful. Maybe in future videos I'll tell you guys what I do. However, needless to say, it's extremely stressful. You bring home a lot from work. So anyway, I just had my son. Finances were really tough. I was living in a basement apartment. My wife was not working. That was my second son. So life was getting very stressful. So a myriad of events in my life started to build up in a negative way. And I still had to go to work, deal with the extremely stressful part of work, and take it home with me, and then deal with the stresses at home as well. So the stress started to react with me very badly. And I've always been a sort of high-strung person, so it was no surprise to me that, I suddenly started getting vertigo, or, I felt weak or tired or something like very normal things that would stress. However, as my experiences went on, I didn't realize the stress was probably killing me. Like, genuinely, it was probably killing me. So, I'm sorry, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'll speed it up a little bit. So, long story short, the months went on. Different weird medical things were happening to me. Things that I cannot explain. I would get super dizzy. My blood pressure would go through the roof suddenly. My face would get numb and tingly. All stress-related things. And I could pinpoint the night that these twitches started. I could pinpoint it. I was put on dexamethasone for vertigo, which dexamethasone is a steroid that it's an anti-inflammatory steroid. It's a very powerful steroid, which I don't think I needed it, but doctor said do it, so I said okay, fine. At this point, I didn't have any twitching yet. I took the dexamethasone, and on the second day, I remember sitting in front of my screen, my computer screen, and my face, it's almost like it was a bubble of popped. My face started twitching, nonstop, bad, to the point where I look almost like this. And I was like, wow, I never experienced this before. I mean, I've had twitching before, but this is bad. So let me take some magnesium. Because magnesium, it helps with twitching, calming you down, whatever it was. I thought maybe it was like a deficiency in my muscles at that point with electrolytes or something, because I work out all the time. I'm in pretty good shape for the most part, for a fat old 35-year-old dad of two. So my face really started twitching, and I didn't understand it. So as the night went on, the twitching moved to the rest of my body. Like, I mean, my entire body looked like it was at like a rave studio. Like, it was just like everything was just like my biceps were twitching, my shoulders were twitching, my pecs were twitching, my calves were twitching, my feet were twitching, my hands, like right here specifically, was twitching. It was just twitching. Like, I was like, I didn't think anything of it because I never Googled twitching. You know what I mean? So long story short, the twitching didn't stop. And it didn't get any worse because it was at such a bad point that everything I did, I was just absolutely twitching. Following that, I started getting really bizarre happenings with my body where my left hand would stop working, like my pinky felt very weak. And then next thing I knew, I was trying to, I was trying to self-diagnose by going on Google, which, by the way, is the worst thing to do. Do not go on Google and self-diagnose yourself. That, my friends and my audience, whoever is listening, maybe one or two of you, is the worst possible thing you can do. You will do nothing but drive yourself insane. So I went on Google and I typed in body twitching. And what is the number one thing that comes up when you type in, I have twitches all over my body, or I have persistent twitching or something? It is ALS. And of course, with two young children, I drove myself into a stressful hole. I remember at one point being so stressed, pacing back and forth for maybe 2 weeks at a time in my basement, genuinely almost giving myself a heart attack because I thought I was going to die of a terminal disease. Because what did I do? I self-diagnosed myself. Twitching alone, even if it's all over your body, is not enough to diagnose anything. Remember that. Go to a doctor, see the doctor, tell him. Trust in your doctors. You have to put trust in your doctors. And I know that's very difficult to say when you're going through a stressful time, but I went through it. You have to trust in your doctors. So I went for a battery of tests. I went for a brain scan. I went for a brain wave scan. I did an EMG. And from what I understand, from what for the most part, when you're twitching, the EMG, which shows ALS, it shows the degeneration of the muscle, which is a sign of ALS. Once you start twitching, that it's already like on its way. So the EMG came back normal. All my tests came back normal. My MRI, and my doctor was like, "There's really, you just have to meditate and do what you have to do and to calm yourself mentally." And I had convinced myself so aggressively that I had something truly wrong with me because of the twitching. The twitching doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It's relentless. That even him telling me with all those tests, at first I was like, yeah, cool. All right, I'm good. And about 5 weeks later, it's still twitching. I went right back into the rabbit hole, and I had to tell myself, you can't do this. You cannot get to this point. And ever since I've had this twitching, it's been a year now, and I have no signs of weakness. I'm actually pretty strong. A couple of things that I do notice that come along with this that a lot of other people said, and it kind of clicked a light bulb for me. Generally, my athletic ability has dropped significantly. I'm very tired when I work out. I'm tired at night. I'm tired during the day. At random times, I'll feel almost like a tingling somewhere. The twitching, it comes and it goes. It's not really persistent in any one area. Although right now in my left thigh, right above my kneecap, I have this persistent twitch that it pops up everywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes to every 10 seconds to a couple hours it doesn't twitch. That's been there for like 3 weeks or so, and that's what I like to call a hot spot because I've had the same thing happen to me about 7 months ago in my left bicep. It would twitch like this, just like that. It's not twitching now. I'm doing that voluntarily. It would twitch just like that. almost went down the rabbit hole, and I had to tell myself, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And sure enough, the twitching went away. It took almost 2 months for that to go away. It does come back occasionally, like all of a sudden I'll feel a quick twitch, but I don't really pay any mind to it at this point. Cause I don't have muscle loss, anything, and it's been over a year now. Again, I'm just doing this to share my experience. I'm probably going to make more videos from day to day because I know there are people out there that are dealing with this and they don't know how to. Even knowing that they're okay, and the word benign is, factored in here. Benign, which it's not going to, ruin. It's not going to kill you or ruin your life in some way. But it's very frustrating, it's very aggravating, it's very stressful in its own way, because even me having it for a year, this past week, I got into the stress mode again because this one persistent twitch in my leg, I put myself in that same boat again where I said, oh my God, did it turn into this, And I went online again and I saw some reassuring videos, which are great. So I'm making this channel. If you guys have any questions, anything that your experiences that you want to share, and maybe I could possibly tell you my experiences if I had the same thing. My twitching definitely is exacerbated by alcohol, which I don't drink like a lot of alcohol. I'm a social drinker. I'm not an alcoholic by any means. Alcohol, caffeine, big time, which. Also, when I drink caffeine now, I tend to shake. So, like, everything I do, like my joints, they're not smooth. They're not like, they're not smooth. They get very shaky and everything. And if I grab something, I'm very shaky. So caffeine is not good. It also exacerbates the twitching, where I start twitching like all over. Specifically in my thighs and my calves, where it feels like a piano's playing. And I've had that from day one. Where, like right now, nothing's happening because I got a good night's sleep. I haven't drank any caffeine yet. I haven't had any alcohol the night before. So the twitching is much less. So alcohol, that no sleep exacerbates it. Some days are worse than others. So if you guys have any questions or concerns, I'll post more. If I start twitching, I'm going to post the videos of what my twitches look like, because I've done it a million times, so I'm assuming everybody else has. What does BFS twitching look like? What does ALS twitching look like? One thing that is consistent from what I read and what my neurologist told me, who is an excellent neurologist, ALS twitching or some neurodegenerative twitching, muscular degenerative twitching, it never stops. It's not like it goes away and it comes and it goes. It comes and it goes and it spreads around. It starts in one spot and it spreads from that spot over a course of time. And it never stops. And it's also accompanied by weakness, like not muscle weakness, where it's perceived, where it's like, I can't do it. I can't lift 25 pounds with my arm today. Something's wrong. But you're still doing like 10 reps. It's clinical weakness. Clinical weakness is the equivalent of hold your hand there and pretend like you can't move it. That is clinical weakness. Where I'm not a doctor, just from what I read, that is clinical weakness, where you just don't have the ability to do it. You can't do it. Almost like when you wake up at night and your hand is numb and you can't move that hand. That is what clinical weakness is. Not a perceived weakness where it's like, oh man, I can't do that squat today, or I had such a hard leg workout and I feel weak. And it is like your hand when you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't move it. You're looking at it and you're giving it a command and it won't do it. That is what clinical weakness is. All right? So I hope this helped. I know it's a little long, 14 minutes, almost 15 minutes. As I said, I'll post more as I go, and maybe in time I'll tell you guys what I do for a living, because it's definitely a big part of why this has happened to me, stressful wise. So try to meditate every day. Any questions or concerns, let me know. Like, subscribe, whatever you want to do, however they do it. I'm not looking to monetize this channel and make money. I'm literally looking to just help people in some way mentally with this frustrating, annoying, and stressful, benign disorder.